What's up, guys? Welcome to my weekly Wednesday live. Today I want to talk to you about meal templates. Listen to the end, or you can just read the blurb on the side or go to the link in my Instagram profile because I have a really special project that I put together specifically about meal templates. So what is a meal template and why is it so awesome? That's what I want to talk about today. So a lot of you, I'm sure all of you, are familiar with recipes. So a recipe would be I have a cookbook or I go to a website and I have a really specific single dish that I'm making. Let's say I'm making a stir fry, or I'm making a casserole, or I'm making a soup. And there's a specific list of instructions with exact quantities. There's specific steps that you take, and every time you make the recipe with a little bit of variation, you pretty much end up with the same meal. Now, a meal template is different. A meal template is more of a framework, and a template could end up in a variety of different ways. The main essence of the meal is always going to stay the same. So to use my earlier examples, I could have a stir-fry template. I'm always going to end up with a stir-fry, but it's not always going to be this specific stir-fry with these ingredients. It's going to allow me to use the ingredients that I have on hand. It's going to let me improvise with what's available, and I'm going to create a different meal every time. So I think templates are the single biggest reason why I've had so much success learning to cook and making healthy cooking and meal prepping a really integral part of my routine. So years ago, before I got in shape, I had no idea how to cook at all. I could make like a frozen pizza and I could make Easy Mac. And then when I started to learn to cook, I did use a lot of recipes at first, but a lot of times I was frustrated by the recipe because I would have this experience where I'd have something that I would want to make, and it would have a specific list of ingredients, and I would go to the store and I would buy these things, and then I would only use them for this one recipe, and then they would just sit unused on my shelf. And this was a waste of money, and then the food would go bad, and I just felt like this was not the most efficient way to do things. And then also, a lot of times I would feel like every time I made a recipe, I was trying to learn this new cooking technique from scratch. So I was making something I hadn't made before, and there were all these steps that I hadn't done, and it was just really overwhelming. So over time, what I transitioned to was more of a template model. So let me explain what that looks like to you. So I'll talk about a couple of the templates that I use a lot. So for example, every day for lunch or sometimes for breakfast, I make myself a salad. Now, the salad is prepared in the same way every day. I'm always chopping my greens, I'm adding my homemade dressing, and then I'm adding my protein, and then I'm chopping up vegetables. So like those basic steps are always the same, but I can put whatever I want in the salad. So one salad that I make a lot, I call it my deconstructed guacamole salad. So I put cilantro in there, I put lime juice in there. A lot of times I'll put avocado, and so I get this kind of like southwesterny Mexican flavor to the salad. On the flip side, another salad that I also make a lot, I call it my sweet salmon salad. So I'll use spinach, I'll put strawberries in there, I'll put canned salmon in there, and then I'll use some sort of sweet vinegar instead of the lime juice. So it has a completely different flavor profile. So even though I have these two meals that are really different, they're interesting, they're not that similar to each other, they're prepared in the same way. So I don't have to go out of my way to learn some new fancy kitchen technique. I don't have to buy stuff that I'm not going to use beyond that single recipe. Like I can take this one meal template and I can make an infinite number of meals with it. I'll give you another example that's a little broader. So a typical meal that I make a lot is some sort of like grilled protein and then a veggie side. So for the grilled protein, I have a George Foreman grill and I have like a cast iron grill pan. And all I do is I take whatever protein I'm making, sometimes it's like a turkey burger, sometimes it's pork chop or a steak. I'll season it, usually with a seasoning blend. So something that I don't have to do any work with, and then I'll just cook it. And they're cooked more or less the same way every time, but I could get really different meals depending on which protein I use and which flavor, which spice blend that I use. And then I have a couple of really simple side templates that I'll make. So a lot of times I'm making like a steamed vegetable. Usually I'll just chop up some broccoli and cauliflower, sometimes some asparagus, sometimes Brussels sprouts, sometimes carrots, just whatever I'm feeling, whatever I have on hand. It's really simple preparation. I steam them and they're finished. Another one that we do a lot, I call it a veggie medley. It's basically sauteed veggies. So I like to use zucchini in this, but you could use any vegetable that cooks essentially on the stove. So you just chop it up, you heat up some oil in a pan, you saute it. So as you can see, like the basic preparation is really simple, but there's a lot of flexibility. You can use up things that are in your fridge. Like a lot of times people will go to the store and they struggle to buy fresh produce because it goes to waste. So no more having things that go bad in your fridge if you have a template where you can use them. So this veggie hodgepodge that I do is a great example of this, because any vegetable that you can cook on the stove, you can throw into the hodgepodge. It'll keep things interesting for you, and you don't have to throw away that food at the end of the week. So you just have a lot more options with the things that you have on hand while still keeping things simple. So you really do get the best of both worlds with templates. I mentioned this already, but templates are also a great way to reduce the cost and the waste of your grocery shopping. So I know more or less how many, like what quantity of certain vegetables I'm eating during the week. So every week when I go to the store, I'm buying like 2 or 3 bell peppers, and I know that over the course of my different meal templates that I make, that's going to get used up. But I don't have to do a really specific shopping list where I write down like exact things for recipes, because I know that I have options that I can use the things I like to buy. And then again, as I already mentioned, if you have food left over in your fridge at the end of the week and you have templates where you can use those things like soup or throwing veggies and scrambled eggs or making a salad, you're not going to be throwing away as much food. So your dollar is going to go a lot farther, and it's not going to be such a frustrating experience to try to buy fresh fruits and vegetables because you will actually use them. So hopefully I've convinced you a little bit about meal templates. I really do think that this is the way to go, again, to save time, to make your meals more interesting and more diverse without all the extra effort of learning new recipes, and then also to save money and to reduce food waste. And all these are things that are really important to me, and I think they're important to you as well, because I've heard from a lot of clients and friends that these are big struggles that people have. So I've been working on a guide where I put together my favorite meal templates. So I have maybe 10 or so different dinners that I rotate through, and a lot of them are just meal templates. Some of them I already mentioned. We do stir fries, we do different proteins that are grilled, we do different veggie things, and I wrote all of these down in a PDF guide, and I've put it together to share with everybody, because I think that this is such a huge game changer for your cooking and your kitchen skills. So there is a link, if you're watching this on Instagram, in my Instagram profile. And then if you're watching this on Facebook, you can go to my cover photo, it's linked there, and I've also written about it in the actual text accompaniment to this live. If you happen to be watching this on YouTube, I will also put a link in the description. But it's a totally free PDF guide. It has 6 meals that are like one-pan meals, so everything you need is in the same place. So I've got a stir fry in there, I've got my egg template, my salad template. I have a couple of simple templates just for preparing proteins. I already mentioned one, which is my grilled protein template. And then I have 3 templates for easy side dishes, vegetable side dishes, and my favorite quick way to make potatoes, which is a super time-consuming thing if you don't take this little shortcut that I like to use. So I'd love for you guys to download it. Again, it's totally free. I want to help you out in the kitchen. I want you to get some wins. I want you to see that cooking at home, even if it's not 100% of your meals, but you're getting more and more experience, it doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't have to be really involved to make great tasting, healthy food. So if you have any questions about this, please hit me up in the DMs or comment on the post. And otherwise, go ahead and download that guide. And if you have someone else you know could benefit, send it to them as well. Awesome, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.